Hello, my birthday blowfish. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm just so tired from all this birthday fun.
Oh my God, the look you're serving tonight is truly unbelievable. I
Is
just
it
want to point
enough? Is it
out,
enough?
stand up, is it enough? Is it enough? Please let us know. You're like a gender nonconforming flamingo. I can't quite put it together. I love it.
It's very beach. It's very beach for March 9th. I'll say
It
that.
is. It is very beach, but I think that's good. You are better than a groundhog. You are bringing us spring.
I
You
try.
know what I
I
mean?
do what I can. I can't promise anything, but
We can't rely on Punxsutawney Phil. He's
no.
trash.
He's had a lot of time with what results, frankly.
With what results?
With what
Frankly,
results?
did you know that there's like groundhogs in all little like small towns, and
Like,
they like
oh,
all
they
like
they lift up the groundhog in each.
yeah, in like all different towns. Buffalo has one named Buffalo Bert, and they like dress a guy also in a groundhog costume. Anyways,
And they just
I
lift
got
him up.
really into it around. Yeah, they were just like, and he's like, ah!
It's like, put me
All right,
down.
look, let me cheers you.
Mm.
That is just quite the dish. Look at your marg. I love you so much.
I love
Happy
you too,
birthday
Queen. Thank you.
to my best friend. You are an
Oh,
angel on this earth. I love you.
cheers, Queen. Thank you so much. Hmm.
Mmm. Mmm.
I've been following some Instagrams that are that highlight the agelessness of style, such as Advanced Style and Baddie Winks. Have you ever seen Baddie Winks? She's like an
No.
85-year-old woman who is just 24/7 neon Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper.
Love it.
And that's really because after 30 it is slow march to the grave. And so like
Oh my God, girl.
so when I finally meet the Reaper, I'm going to win that chess game.
Girl, you
Mhm.
look breathtaking and just not a day over 31.
Oh, thank you. Let me pinch these
So what are
cheeks,
we
get the blood flow going.
So what are we doing on the dish tonight?
Tonight on the dish, well, I did not cook, girl, because I was out of town. So we're
It
gonna
was your
start off.
birthday.
Yeah, it was my birthday, so you gave me the week off, which was very sweet. Um, so we're gonna start off with what you've cooked us for this evening, and then we're gonna go into identity and relationships. I do believe. Is
I
the
do
topic of the day.
believe.
You know what I love about us, Brooke, is that we talk about meaningful topics and we don't get distracted by things like fan service or
Our own hair.
or glitter.
I had one of my good friends watch my virtual show once and count how many times I touched my hair. And now we're not friends anymore. All right, so let's get the dish cam up. I
Yes.
made a pozole verde, which is
You sure did.
I surely did. which is like a Mexican soup.
Mhm.
And
Here we have an image here, a preview image.
a preview image. Excellent. Love it.
Mhm.
And we love tomatillos. I love them. I love cooking with them. And it has poblano peppers and jalapeno peppers. And you can do, yes, a lot of different things with it. I think I was being really generous on the 2 for difficulty because you do have to roast and like blister the peppers and then peel them all because the skin is really bitter. So that's probably the most work, but then the rest is just adding everything in. So I used a small white bean, and you could use a Great Northern bean or a black bean if you were feeling adventurous.
It was me.
It's
Small white bean.
small. It's
So small.
I'm so thin. And I do it. Here you go. I'll get the dish. If the dish cam is up, I can. I mean, it's hard.
It is now.
It's hard to show soup.
So what were the chips that you had alongside the pozole?
Is that good? Can you see it?
Yeah,
This
lift
feels
it up
weird.
just a little bit. Now, what are we seeing in the middle? I see some corn, and it is indeed quite green.
And a lot of avocado. So I always put a whole avocado in. And then let me tell you about these chips.
Yum. Ooh, that's the auditory component of tonight's show.
At the grocery store here in South Florida, they have this Florida section. And I always get bamboozled by the Florida section, and I spend like $20 on local honey. I mean, And they're like, they're from local bees. Like, fuck off. No, bees fly everywhere.
They're from local bees.
Someone correct me. And they're like, local bees named Sharon made this honey. Pay $47. But these chips are like Taste of Florida chips, but they're just like chips with seasoning salt. They're so good. But let me try the pozole. Okay, so this is my pozole verde, and everything's vegan.
How is it? First bites.
Really tangy. You can really taste the tomatillo and the poblano. I only did a quarter of a jalapeno, and I think I would do maybe a half of a jalapeno next time, because you do blister it, peel off the skin and the seeds, so it is a little more mild.
Now we're gonna need an emoji scale for heat, because girl, tell me about what's your heat threshold? How hot do you like it? Some like it hot.
Bring it.
You like it really hot?
I love it.
Oh,
I love a medium heat. I still want to be able to taste the food. When it's too hot and I can't actually taste the food, when it complements it, I cook with cayenne every day, but I don't use a ton of it unless the dish calls for it.
Yeah.
There's a high amount of like coconut milk or something and it cuts it. Delicious.
Oh, yeah.
How about you?
Coconut milk is great for that. I'm much lower on the scale. My Delicate Sensibilities by Jane Austen. And it's like I will order mild.
This is so good.
I'll always order mild.
This is so good.
Oh,
I'm gonna keep eating this.
Yes, please keep eating it, because we're gonna need, as always, we like to bite into complicated topics, and you're gonna need to keep your strength up.
Girl, won't I? No. So it was really good. If you want the recipe, let me know. I really love it, and it's super fun. You can jazz it up. You could add white onion and cilantro on top. I'll say, here's the thing about heat. I have never dated a woman that can handle heat, and it has affected my cooking. And that is the most gender normative thing I will say all fucking night. But it's true, because if you're cooking for like two and the person you're with can't stand heat, it's like not fun. Like, it's like, oh, cool, I can't eat dinner with you. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. So I think definitely like dating in the Midwest, a lot of Puritans and such. Yeah. They're not a big fan of spice.
Well, that's hard. I mean, I was going to make a, like, figurative heat thing, like segueing into our topic, like you think you know somebody, and then you only like 3 alarm chili and they like 4. But cooking for people's hard, though. I mean, to take it back to, like, on face value, cooking's hard for people because, like, for instance, Monty and me like scrambled eggs very differently. So, like,
really?
Yeah. So he likes French scrambled eggs because, of course, he's like a classy muffin.
The fuck is a French scrambled egg? Does it have like a croissant on top?
Yeah. It's eggs shaped into the shape of a croissant,
or the shape of France.
Yeah, the shape of France.
He only eats country-shaped foods.
Yes. It's like a diorama with, like, there's like sheep jumping over a fence. But it's all eggs. Yes. No, so he likes to, I don't know if that's a real term, by the way, but he likes French stuff. So you take cream or milk or something and you whip the eggs beforehand.
Okay.
And it creates like a nice, light, fluffy, creamy egg, like a custardy kind of egg. And then he scrambles that. And they kind of look like clouds when it's done. You know what I mean? That kind of scrambled egg that I'm talking about, like Bob Evans scrambled eggs. Yeah,
no, I know what. Yeah, those are fucking good.
Yeah, you can tell I'm very classy. I'm like, it's like the Kraft macaroni and cheese of eggs. But no, it's okay for me, but what I like to do is I like to crack 2 or 3 eggs and spread them out in the pan like a pancake, and I just fry the shit out of them.
I've seen it. I have never seen anyone fry the shit out of an egg like you.
I like it like crying for help. And then I take it out, cut it in half, and stick it on buttered crispy toast. And it's like, there's nothing soft about those eggs. They're just completely like, yeah. That's how I like
say mine. That is a hangover cure of epic proportions that worked when we lived together when I was much younger, and I needed hangover cures way too frequently. So
my GI tract was much more malleable back then.
Oh my God. So let's dish on our dish today. So we came to this conclusion on what to talk about today because it's just intersected and impacted so much of our lives. And we talk about it I was actually thinking about this. We talk about this all the fucking time.
We
talk about
do.
all the fucking time.
It's one
And
of those
about,
things
like,
that keeps coming up.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
interesting because it first came up because I've been the partner of multiple people who've transitioned, and I've dated men and women and both cis and trans. And you know,
I've always been the person who was transitioning.
right, and
Yeah.
celebrated this
Oops.
huge milestone of 10 years.
Yeah. We made
You know,
it,
you made it.
which statistically we're very fortunate because a lot of relationships that go through transition do not last. And that's
Say more about that.
Well, that's it's complicated because every person's transition is different, but then every person is different, and then like
Right.
the permutations of every two or more people in a relationship are different. So like your dynamic with someone is going to be completely different than your dynamic with somebody else. And so it's like every relationship is a once in a lifetime event, you know? And if it lasts, it's kind of a miracle because there's just so much complication and there's so much change. And this is where I think you can link the trans experience to any relationship, which is that you're going to change. You know, and that theme has come up before when we've talked about things like negotiating non-monogamy. It's like you can't just set the contract and the rules and expect them to never change. You're going to need to talk about it constantly. And the same thing is true in a like monogamous relationship. Marriage, marriage. You know, marriage is it's a whole thing.
But I think that's the point. Like,
yeah,
what makes transitioning kind of stand out? There's changes people go through all the time: pregnancy, grad school, death in the family, like immense, big, huge changes, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I was thinking about it.
Getting a new kitchen table.
Oh my God! Cancel the gala.
Cancel the gala. He doesn't like onyx.
So we had to end it.
Yeah.
It was a good 18 years though. I think so much of, we've talked about kind of a living document of the contract of a relationship. And for me, so many of the terms and conditions change, and that's all the time. But with transitioning, they change. And like, even like, I don't even know like what you're writing on or the pen you use. Like there's just so many, like all of a sudden you're just holding a squid. Like you're like, I can't write with this. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, and you're like, oh, you have such squid vibes today. I love it. Sensual sea squid. Birthday squid. But yeah, like the it's just so much immense change. I think it takes exactly what you said, which is a lot of checking in, and it's almost like it's like a part-time job for both parties. So it's like, hey, the commitment to this conversation. And I've had a lot of friends, who say, we collectively made the choice that the person that I was going to be, as I continued this transition, wasn't the person that they signed up for, and they still want to show up for it, and we're still in it, right?
Oh
like that is also an agreement, right? That it's like, that's not, and we're not saying that's not a possibility. I just think it does kind of stand out to me because I think there's an honoring of saying to someone like, hey, I've made this choice to do what is just such an inherently, and I mean this in a positive way, selfish thing. Like it is all about your identity is so personal to you, and you cannot let anybody hold you back, even someone you love. And it's like, hey, I still love you so much, and I want you to do this, and I want to move forward with you, not romantically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, and I wouldn't want to do you a disservice of not being true and you not being true to you. Like, I think it's just.
Now let me qualify that just a little bit. Let me not push back, but let me offer a different angle, which is identity is very it generates from within, I think.
Yeah.
Like the skin that I'm shedding what I'm growing is coming from inside as I shed my skin, and it's like a constant new layering of your you're always becoming, right? As you live, you're always becoming. However, or maybe and also, I have come to feel like my identity has just as much with how I feel about myself as it does with how other people reflect against me. And that's not to say like, because caring too much about what other people think, it's not about caring what other people think, because too much of that, of course, is unhealthy. But it's like our identity doesn't exist in a vacuum. It like exists as a direct result of the social relationships that we form. And so like that's part of the thing about changing in a relationship for me is like, yeah, you know, you can say that this is how far I'm gonna go.
Right.
Like for a while, I didn't want to do hormones because we won't get into that whole story, but just for a lot of different reasons, I wasn't sure if it was what I wanted or like
Right.
I thought society wanted me to look like, you know, what they expected a woman to look like. So I was constantly wrestling. It's like, do I want HRT or not? And then I always said to my partner, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do hormones and I'm not going to do surgery. But there's some of that you can't promise because down the road I was like, oh, actually I need to go on hormones because it was the medication I needed to treat my dysphoria, you know?
Right.
And then went on hormones for a couple of years and then I was like, oh my God, it's gone. My dysphoria is gone. But I changed in my relationship, but I also changed because of my relationship because I would never have been able to decide finally like, oh, I'm going to decide to go on hormones for me if I didn't have that support structure of my partner saying, yes, I love you. You need to do what you need to do, which to me was like a true gift, like unconditional love. I love you enough that if this results in me not being attracted to your body anymore, I don't know if it is or not, but like he's a gay man. And I was going down a track towards being more feminine, and we were both worried, like, maybe I'm going to become too feminine for us to sustain this relationship. So it's just, like, layers of complication that you can't plan for, and you just take it one decision at a time. And, again, just to reiterate, the fact that we are still in a relationship after all this time and all the changes that we've both been through is just, like, astounding to me. I'm so thankful.
Oh, we're going to cheers to that. Happy 10 years.
Thank you. It's such a big month.
Happy, like, healthy 10 years where you're working through this incredible thing also. Like, no, by the way, I hate celebrating anniversaries because I think the length of a relationship doesn't mean the success. So I think it's more about,
correct,
you know, the success. So bravo to that.
And it hasn't been, like, you know, hasn't been smooth sailing the whole time, but... we're still here.
No, but like that means it was real. Like, like if you talk to someone and they were like, "We've been together 10 years," and that shit's been a breeze. You're like, "Oh, so you live in different states." So I certainly haven't lived together last year. I think you touched on something really interesting, which is, you know, identity through the process. When I was get this bullshit. When I was a personal trainer. Real weird part of my life. Real butch part of my life.
So hot, by the way.
So many pairs of wind pants.
Oh, thank you, Denise. Denise says happy 10 years. I put on my glasses for saw a comment over there in the chat.
Hi, Denise. When I was a personal trainer, oh my God, I had a wind suit and matching wind pants.
Oh my God.
The joke was, how could you tell a personal trainer was in the room? You could always hear them coming. Swish, 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 swish. Yes. And I had this couple, I was training this lesbian couple, and then one of them started to transition, and they like asked me to kind of like help them talk them through it. And I was like, hey, I'm not a counselor. And they're like, but you are you know us really well as a couple and separately. And like, I just kind of watched their relationship disintegrate in between lunge sets, which was super fun. But one of the things that was the most challenging was for the partner of the trans man, who was like, I am such a proud lesbian. I can't lose this. And she was newly out. And it was just like, this is her first relationship. Yeah. So she's like, fuck. Like, I just
like, what am I supposed to do?
You know, and I remember, you know, the erasure or the challenge in that space. Like, I feel that so deeply because as someone who's dated men and women, you know, when a man like goes to reach for my hand and I'm like, no, I have a rep to protect. We're in Columbus. And I'm like, don't hold my hand. Right. And like, that's completely unfair. But what is kind of, you know, what are the expectations? And then what are the assumptions, like you said, of society? Okay, I know I'm queer. Okay, great. Awesome.
Right, great. I know.
Yeah. Yahtzee.
Yeah.
If my partner wants to transition and wants to be self, and is living and breathing and working and loving and whatever as a man, all things as a man. And I'm at a cocktail party and I'm like, I'm queer. Like, does it also disrupt his identity? Right? Like,
yeah.
There's a lot there. And I dated a stealth trans dude who was a junior high teacher.
Wow.
I mean, he could not come out. And this is back in the day when
right.
It was the early 2000s.
And there's still places. There's still plenty of places
there's still places.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, like, he's not at risk of anything. I'm not even going to use his name. But he was a junior high teacher. And I was like, you know, he was like, you can't go to Pride. You can't go to a Pride parade in New York.
Oh my
Because what
gosh.
if someone sees you
Yeah.
and like his career was at risk?
What if someone's, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get distracted
By myself.
by myself. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So like it was not just, I had to kind of put my identity on hold out of love. It was out of survival and livelihood.
yes.
And what is and is that, yes, that's part of love. Where does compromise become compliance?
Yeah, or conceding. I'm gonna concede part of myself.
Yeah.
And that's so difficult because for me that has an expiration date. I would only last for so long, I think, just because, mama, look at the material. This, I can't like, I can only tamp this down. It's like an overstuffed suitcase.
And you shouldn't.
But it's just all organza. So
it's just so much tool.
Right, it's tulle.
It's just tulle. It's just
tulle.
tulle.
This is a very femme joke. Like, everyone's going to be like, what the hell is it about tulle? But if you've ever tried to stuff a tulle gown into a suitcase, you know that it is very, you can't keep it in. And eventually it's going to burst out and that tulle is just going to go everywhere. And it's going to be like that scene in Tu Wong Fu when they're decorating the place they're staying at while the Wonder Woman theme is playing. Wonder Woman! And it's just, it's going to be a wrap at that point.
I'm going to tell our viewers right now and those who are watching in the future, you have to watch Tu Wong Fu to get 90% of our references and the birdcage for the other 10%. And I am so sorry. There's some homework you have to do.
Well, one of these days, in that vein, one of these days we might have a watch party for Tu Wong Fu. So
my gosh, we should do a watch party for Tu Wong Fu.
So you can experience the cultural critique that is, we'll pause it. You have to be someone who enjoys, is okay with pausing a movie and talking through, oh my god, let's
dive deep.
Yeah, let's dissect this scene. Let's talk about the anatomy because it happens. We've seen it so many times, and that's also just who we are.
Oh my god, yeah, we pause it it's Tu Wong Fu watching it is 3.5 hours.
Yeah, we're just look
the watch party.
Yeah, we're just pause, look at Ms. Patrick Swayze living her full life in this look.
Vita Boheme.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, R.I.P. Okay, so
anyway, that's
we got off track.
Yeah, but you bring up. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think no.
Go ahead.
I don't fucking know. I guess I just feel like it's really that is the balance, right? And then as we head into spaces with non-binary folks who are hey, I don't really want to fit into that space. It's okay, cool. And I want to make sure I show up as a partner for whatever that looks like. And, that is in part, if I can be honest, how I've really landed on the word queer in the last few years for my identity, because my ex was non-binary or be trans. I've had partners that are non-binary or trans. I'm I need to, what is this? What does this mean for me? And that reflect back is kind of what led me to my queer identity. So you're absolutely right. And I never really thought about that. Shout out all my exes. I'm sure you're watching. That you're right. That even me identifying as gay, I don't think does the service I want to do to the people I love, and many of whom I continue to love. I care about a lot of the people I've been with. There's no question.
Yeah.
So what the gift they gave me is this incredible, identity that I probably wouldn't have fallen upon if I had only dated cis women.
Yeah. We started to touch on the idea of erasure in relationships, which is, I think one of the most textbook examples in the queer community is if you're a bi person and you're monogamous, then you're with...
And Godspeed to you, honey.
It's just a bit of light shade on a Tuesday.
Who is bisexual monogamous besides Nikki Winkleman, who we love, who has a joke about it, and it's my favorite joke she has.
No, I have a friend. It's
that bear. Keep going.
Let's call him Jaime. I have a friend who is bisexual monogamous, and there is an erasure that happens when you are with someone of the opposite sex and you are straight passing. You're I would call it legibly straight, which is that you're walking down the street, you are and this is of course with the other presupposition that both of your presentations are straight passing. And again, I'm not trying to get into the dynamics of passing, because I don't, as you know, on this channel, I don't subscribe to the idea of passing. I think it is harmful. I'm not trying to say that some people are, passing and therefore more legitimate than others.
You're good. You're good, girl. You're good.
Just saying, you're doing too much.
No. I'm trying to cover a lot of bases.
Try to, just try to be sensitive on the cover. It's a sensitive covered dish, But anyway, if you are seemingly two people of the opposite sex and you're straight passing, then your bi-ness is essentially not in the room. Bi-ness has left the chat, right?
Right.
And a challenge with that, it's the same thing with my partner identifies as gay. And I essentially became a bit of a party clown, but like a woman in most spaces. So now it's like, oh, we're legibly straight. And that's very difficult for him, because he's like, my gayness is a big part of my identity. He's also somewhat older than I am, and he has been through an era where...
Kill Surprise!
Yeah. Who's shocked? Show of hands.
No one's raising their hand.
No one, yeah.
Except Denise. Denise.
We'll get into that history another time. But he has been through a time where it wasn't okay to have a picture of him and his gay partner on his desk at work. So when you're coming from that level and you're like, I don't want to even incidentally go back in the closet, right? Like, I don't want to inadvertently go back in the closet. I want to be here in my full self.
Yeah.
Gavin's watching. Hey, Gavin.
Hi. Oh, we're coming up.
Yeah.
To chat about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hang tight.
Gavin, it's been so long. I feel like you're here in the room with us.
Which means Eileen is going to essentially take off her robe.
Yes, it's
very
subtly.
Her bodysuit that did not really get any play.
No, so let me briefly just decide. I rhinestoned this bodysuit for the show we had in person on Thursday at District West, and we had to cut the Spice Girls medley, so I didn't even get to show off my newly rhinestoned bodysuit.
We've all been there.
Yeah, but no.
I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I said that.
Yes, but one of our esteemed colleagues in Panache a Trois rolled her ankle, and so we always put health first, and we said, you know what? We cannot go on if everyone is not, healthy and ready to slay. So it was a difficult decision, but it was a necessary decision. You
know what they say? If you want to be my lover, you need to have two working ankles. So... Oh, it's such a low bar, birthday girl. You loved it.
Make it last forever. Friendship never ends.
Next week, we're going to be doing a sensual reading of all of our favorite lyrics from the Spice Girls.
So. Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying.
I think medley too. So it was it's a 7-song medley with 3 on-stage costume changes.
Okay, when we have our performer episode, we need to get into it on the feelings about the medleys, y'all, and your we need to talk about the medleys.
If you don't know Panache a Trois, medleys are our bread and butter. We do not. We have one setting, and it's ham.
As someone who's not a drag or burlesque performer, I am here to
Allegedly.
I want to know. Allegedly. I want to understand. I was only a drag king once. We all know the story. No one will ever see the video. It was to Jordan Knight's Give It To You.
Oh my God.
Everything about it was terrible. And it was one song. I chose a fucking song. I chose one song.
Oh.
Performers, you're like, no. It's going to be 80 songs. I'm going to do 2 sentences from each song. I love it. Anyways, bi-erasure is so real. And I also think it happens with cis gay men too, right? Like if there are cis gay men,
yes, they are just assumed.
And again, like, oh my God, all the stigma around men who are bisexual, like, we're just a stepping stone to gay. Yeah. And it's so infuriating.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the cis men who are attracted to trans women, but only, behind closed doors. There's a lot to say there. I won't get into that whole topic. We always touch on things that have very long explanations, and we're like, I'm just gonna dip my toe in, and then we need to swim on.
How do you keep your lipstick on while you eat soup?
How do I keep my lipstick on? Speaking of complicated topics.
You always do this.
Glitter does that. It stays on. This craft glitter that I pat onto my lips, it just stays on. You eat a little bit of it. It's like a glitter homunculus. Like you sacrifice a little bit of your internal workings so that your lipstick stays on. Again, like I said in an earlier episode, Brooke, it's selling your soul to the devil. That's what it is.
Beauty ain't cheap.
Black magic.
We
I got stuff going on.
got stuff going on.
Yeah.
No, I really think that's interesting. I think one of the things, and this is a secret, so if there's any straight people watching, turn this off. JK, there's no straight people watching.
Welcome. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I think identity and sexual orientation, we fought so hard to be like, they're different.
Yes.
They're different.
Yeah.
And right. And like, I get it. They're different. And right.
Yes,
it's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have the space for the nuance because we're so busy fighting for survival.
Oh yeah.
That we don't get to say, wow, you know what? Like, let's look at the intersectionality of not intersectionality, capital I, which is coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, specifically about the intersection of race and gender with Black women. And that's not what we're talking about. Specifically, the intersection of gender identity and sexual orientation and the impact of those two in a partnership. Right? Because your shift of gender identity impacts your partner's, again, perceived sexual orientation, and perception is a huge part of the world we live in.
I love this topic because they are different in the abstract, but in the real, I don't want to say in the real world, in real organic living, relationships are like an organism, in that they're always changing, you're always shedding your skin and becoming, but also sexual orientation and gender are inextricable. They move together. You know what I mean?
It's all these,
They move together, and you can only separate them in the abstract when the reality is that when you are with someone, your sexuality is partly dependent on their gender identity and expression. And this is something that, like, trans people are a bridge and a wedge in that situation, because if they change in a very physical, tangible way during a relationship, that comes with a lot of ramifications, right? Like, just a very physical example. Like, if you go on hormone replacement therapy and your smell and your pheromones change, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, you are a similar person, but you are a perceptibly, tangibly different person now. And so, in some ways, we have all these shared memories, experiences, but we have to reacquaint ourselves with the ways that we experience pleasure, with the ways that we understand each other physically, sensually, spiritually, all that stuff. But again, like, trans people in relationships go through this very physically, but cis people go through this too, because we always change when we come upon, like, significant life experiences. We get older. We stop doing things. We start doing things. We have kids. Oh my God, children. Oh
my God, children.
Oh my God, children. Where? No. But they change a lot,
Yeah, and I think for me, the real poignancy and sweetness of that is, the spaces to talk about these nuances outside of your relationship. So you don't feel like you're kind of alone in that space where it's like, hey, we fight so hard to keep the letters separate to explain to people that they're different, LGBTQ different, you know what I mean? Right. And to kind of make the space and the kindness for the interplay.
Well, they're different. I think a lot of times we use these differences as a defense against the opposition.
Yeah.
So, like, we boil down things like, oh, it's not a choice, it's a gene with the gay experience.
Which
when
we
the
have
reality
to
is,
do.
even if it was a choice, it's my choice. And that doesn't give you the right to disrespect me or to...
Well, we know how the other side feels about our right to choose. So
yes. But that doesn't fit easily on a sign, right? On a protest sign.
No, and then so Lady Gaga would have to change her song.
Right, she had to change her song. And then we would have to cancel the gala.
Oh my God, if she had to rewrite Born This Way. I mean, how many, I love that. One day I want us to each bring the most ridiculous thing and like wannabe ally gave us as a gift. Like,
my
how
God.
many Born This Way mugs have we all received?
I'll tell you about what my Nana sent to me when I came out to her. She clipped articles out about safe sex and mailed them to me with a card. It was so sweet. But
Oh my God, you win.
no, that was supportive though. I mean, there's some other
That is,
stories
and very cute, but also like hilarious.
Yeah.
And like,
so we have to talk about a little online program that we're going to be cameoing in later this month.
Is so exciting because this is our first guest appearance. So shout out, we are so excited. We are going to be doing a guest appearance, and we'd love for you to join us. We'll put up more information about how to get tickets and all of that jazz, obviously. It's March 20th. The show is called Brotherly Love and All King Review. It's an hour. It's from 8 to 9 ET. So please mark your calendars for March 20th. We'll post the information on our page. Tickets are $10. Your money goes right to the Kings, and pretty dope. We're going to have drag kings from Philadelphia and Puerto Rico. So that's pretty cool.
Yes,
and then
international.
Eileen will be in Columbus, and I'll be in Miami.
Yes.
So you know how we do. International.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little Puerto Rico here down in Miami, so you know what I mean? We kind of feel that connection, like Midwest and Puerto Rico. I like that.
Yeah.
So we'll post the information on our Instagram and on our Facebook, but please come. We'll be there. We'll be drinking. I wonder what Eileen will wear.
Maybe less. You never know.
First of all, okay, I want to point out, this is how we're going to wrap up. I'm wearing like a crop top and leggings, right? This is like, and we would go out, okay? And I would be like, hey, like, do you think I'm being like a little too much? And you'd be like, lose the pants. I
would be like, where is the lingerie?
Like, do you have any? Do you need to borrow some?
Do you need some? I think I might have something that matches.
There's no sheer lace, and I'm very worried about the lack of sheer lace in your outfit. So I will bring the lace. We're very excited. We love drag kings. We will absolutely be talking more about them on our performer episodes.
Yes.
And we're really excited about it.
Especially our maitre d', our master of ceremonies. There's the term. Our master of ceremonies, who is here with us tonight on Covered Dish. Shout out to Gavin Danger. Thank you so much.
Oh no. Gavin's a producer, not just the no. Oh, Daddy's a producer.
Producer Daddy.
Things have gone completely off the rails per usual.
Yeah.
Please let us know what you think of the show. Reach out to us directly. Follow our Instagram at Covered Dish. We'll be posting giveaways, feeds all week. Please like us on Facebook so you can see our up-to-date. Share this. Eileen will be posting the live video as an episode to our YouTube where we have a bunch of subscribers, but you can also like us there, and we'd love to see your smiling faces.
Yes, and you can view all of our past episodes on our YouTube channel. Just look for Covered Dish, and you'll see. Can you believe this is already episode 10?
Girl, I cannot.
Oh my gosh. Look at us. Look at the good we do.
Time flies when you drink alone in a room. This has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much. Please wish Eileen Galvin a happy 32nd birthday.
Ooh.
What up? And we will see you next Tuesday and every Tuesday for Covered Dish.
You surely will. Love you all. Be safe. See you soon. Mwah.